With also the COP focus, a lot of investors and companies are focused on how do they measure their impact, especially on the climate, but also from a social and governance perspective. And you can sort of think of impact in terms of how the company's products and services impact the environment, the society, and you can think of ESG as how they operate and execute on their operations from an environmental, social, and governance perspective. But measuring all of that is high on the agenda, even here at SuperReturn right now.
Yeah, but wait, one big topic or one area where we could really reduce our carbon footprint tremendously is we change our way how we eat. So
absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
And
right.
that's at the core of what we do. We focus on the transition to a sustainable food system. And transitioning to a sustainable food system has actually been a core focus on the COP agenda as well. Obviously, energy transition is really high up there, but there's actually a lot of capital already being deployed into energy transition and not as much into food transition. So if you look at last year's capital deployed, it's about 52 billion into energy transition and about 8 billion only into food transition, which currently is defined as food tech, ag tech, or alternative proteins. And those are the areas that we're focused on right now.
Is it like a growing? Is it a growing industry everywhere in the world, or do you have specific regions where you say that, like, the industry is more mature?
Yeah, industry is very nascent. I mean, you'll see, only in the last few years, some of these alternative protein companies or food tech companies have really taken off. And prior to that, it was very, very small, and it's. Obviously, because there's a technology element to it, an innovation element to it, it's much more prevalent in the United States and Europe. And there are a lot more companies coming out of Europe and the US. And Asia is not far behind.
So you're saying that there's more space for players like Beyond Meat?
Absolutely. So Beyond Meat, Impossible, those are some of our early investments. And the impact of those companies on the climate is essentially they're trying to take animals out of the food chain, and animal agriculture is a big part of the the greenhouse gas emissions, and so by removing them out of the food chain, we automatically have an impact on the road towards net zero. Just to put it in context, energy is about 34% of greenhouse gas emissions, and food systems broadly defined, including agriculture, land use, deforestation, is right behind that with 24–25%. And that's almost 70% more than transportation. So it's actually a huge impact in terms of if we can move to a more sustainable food system that will have a big impact on the transition to net zero.